good, YouTube? Jay Lee here, another Northwest podcast. I do apologize if there's a little interference in the background. There's a fan blowing on me because I've been sweating because I've been cleaning my apartment. And I'm just hot and I want this fan on me. And I sat down for a second and I was thinking about something. And I thought, yeah, why don't I just talk about that? And what I wanted to talk about was these sex workers. I don't know a different way to phrase that. Sex workers, right? Actually, before I get into that, let me just briefly address the books here. I've always been into nutrition and kind of inherited a lot of books and stuff from my mom, who was also into nutrition and stuff. And cleaning my apartment, I had some books on a shelf, and I was just looking through these books. So don't mind that. Just in case you're wondering, that's why I have these kind of books. It's just learning about nutrition, how to cook certain foods, and certain things like that. And this is just two of many books that I have. All right, let's get back to the subject. Sex workers. I don't know any other way to put that. Cam girls, porn stars, Instagram models, OnlyFans models. I did a video recently. I've done several videos on this about how porn is so negative in the sense that it just corrupts society, it corrupts culture, it corrupts behavior. As far as men using it, I'm a lot less harsh on that. The reason why is because men don't have access. Many men, there's a multitude of men out there who do not have access, who do not have sexual access, who do not have access to sex. And I think porn can fulfill a void there because of gynocentrism, because of hypergamy, whatever reason. You got guys out here who are just settling for these wildebeests, right? Who are just have horrible personalities, horrible character, horrible baggage. Maybe not horrible, right? But they've got baggage. They're not probably in shape. And this is what happens when you have a gynocentric society, when you have a feminist run, whatever you want to call it, gynocentric, matriarchy. I don't think we're in a matriarchy, but I think that women have been against men for many decades now. They've been against the male success order, if you will. They don't like men in power. This is what feminism is against. It's against men in power, right? So, any little area that women can grab onto, control, right, lord it over, they're going to do that. And particularly with something as powerful as sex. I was talking to somebody recently and they said, sex, women know what they're doing, right? Whether it's with sex or whether it's with relationships, they're smart. Women are smart just like men are smart. They're not, I wouldn't say as capable, as brilliant, as physically strong as men in most cases. Okay, intellectually, we're talking about intellectual capability in most cases, and also because they don't have to, right? They haven't had to evolve that way. It's not a matter of life and death for them. It's not a matter of sink or swim. It's not a matter of not pushing the species forward, because all they have to do is exist, right? So naturally, you're going to get natural selection. You're going to get some adaptation to where women are not firing on the same cylinders that men are, because they haven't had to adapt. They haven't had to compete with men. I wouldn't even say that women are competing, quote unquote, with men today. I just think women are just crowding the workforce, and it's really hurt society. That's my opinion. I think women should be free to do what they want. However, nobody's educating the public and saying, hey, women joining the workforce has jammed things up. It's messed up the order. It's like if you want to switch and men can go home, men can be stay-at-home moms or stay-at-home dads or whatever, then maybe that'll fix things. I don't know. But there's a problem financially. We got big problems financially, and as a society, and from women joining the workforce. So whatever. But maybe they're competing with us. I don't know. Maybe they're just crowding the workforce. I don't know. Ask 10 different people, get 10 different answers. But at the end of the day, feminism teaches women to be against men, right? So you have this consolidation of power over anything they can, right? And feminism is saying, hey, be in competition with men. Hey, attack men. Hey, hate men. Hey, treat men this way. Use men. It's okay to be sexual. All this negative stuff that feminism is pushing on women, and women are coming back and they don't respect us. Women don't respect men. They don't treat us kindly in general. I'm talking about in general, like when you meet somebody at a store, not like meet somebody go up and talk to them and become their friend. I mean, just in general, you're passing by some, I don't sense respect or general humanity from women. I think that women subconsciously, deep down, don't respect men in general, and that's because a lot of the reason is because of the modern feminist propaganda, the brainwashing that comes from modern feminism, and then also the manipulation that comes from, again, trying to hold power over men any way they can. And it's a big freaking bullseye when it comes to sex, because men are very sexual, and women know this, and women know that men want women, and women know that men want sex. So of course they're going to hoard that resource. That's probably their most precious resource, really. It's a key to get into clubs, it's a key to get free drinks, it's a key to get free dinner, it's a key to get dates paid for, vacations paid for, your rent paid for, you can sell yourself, all this myriad of things when it comes to using sexuality as power and manipulation over men. This is something I talk about on my channel a lot, right? So let me change the direction here for a second. Someone had mentioned that it's all just the government, it's the way things are going, and he just goes with the flow or whatever, and that's fine, you can do what you want, but I gotta speak, that's just me. I gotta speak out against it. I can't be okay with a government that's corrupt and evil. And it's not that I'm anti-government or anti-establishment per se. I'm not an anarchist. But if there's corruption in the system, I gotta talk about it. I gotta, I don't have to, but it's just something that I feel is important to educate men on, so they're aware. Look, things will change if men can collectively say, hey, I'm not going to accept this. I have standards. I'm not going to lower myself. I'll be single. I'm fine with that. It is what it is, So I mentioned earlier about how porn is damaging, super damaging, but yet at the same time, it's a way for men who are lonely to at least get some sexual pleasure, because they can't, get it anywhere else. There's no, prostitution isn't legal, and a lot of men out there are just not being chosen. They're just edged out by hypergamy. And so it's hey, if that's your thing, if that's what you can do to keep yourself satisfied and keep yourself sane throughout your day, because walking around feeling horny sucks, man. As a guy, it's just for a woman, it's and what's funny is women can't walk in men's shoes. Women can't go through what men go through, as far as not constantly being validated, not constantly being hit on. They would commit suicide. Guys probably get a cumulative number of 5 compliments our entire lives, And I was talking to somebody too about that, and they were like, I get compliments all the time, and I'm just like, you do? Like, I don't know what, you know, like, I don't know what world you live in, but, and I was looking at the guy, like, he's not even very good looking. I'm like, are you sure? Because this is not, women are not, and I think the reason why is because it gives power away. Women don't want to give power to men in any way, shape, or form. So validating a man by telling him he's attractive or giving him a compliment about his looks or whatever, is going to give power away. And I believe that feminism and the attack, the push against men collective, I don't know if I say attack, but push, the subconscious, interpersonal, social wrestling for supremacy, if you will, is ingrained and taught to them through feminism. So they're not going to give you compliments as a man, right? And yet they get compliments constantly. They thrive on it. It's their self-esteem. It's how they get confidence. It's how they're validated in the world. It's how their existence is validated. Otherwise, it's like, they're sexy, they're pretty, and you know, if you ever get have a woman hit on you, get a compliment, you feel awesome. You're like, dang man, that's just, kind of, as a guy, kind of. It's a little different for women, I think, because I think women thrive on validation a little more than men do. I think women, at their core, it just means more to them. Whereas a guy, it's like, it's cool to have compliments. It makes you feel good. But at the same time, like, I don't think a lot of guys, I hope I'm not basing this only on my personal experience, but I don't think a lot of guys really care that much about their own ego. I think guys are more pragmatic when it comes to sexuality and flirting and relationship. Guys are more pragmatic. We just want to get in. We just want to have sex. We just want to get in bed with you, period. We'd rather get in bed with you than have a bunch of compliments, if that makes sense. But women, there's something about the way that women view validation and react to that attention and that adoration and all the, thirsting after them. There's something about a woman's ego, particularly in today's day and age, and I don't see this with men as much. It's not that I don't see it, but as much. And a lot of times men get called out on it. Men are not rewarded for being egotistical. They're called narcissists. Women don't like egotistical men, which is a mind fuck, because they're egotistical, they're narcissistic. And that's, it's like, sitting here and saying, oh, women don't like egotistical men, even though they go out and sleep with 50 egotistical men. You're splitting hairs. It's like, in reality, they might sleep with the egotistical man, but they're not like, anyway, I'm kind of going off on a tangent here, but you get my point. Women, for some reason, women are more into validation than men are, which kind of makes sense why women would choose to be sex workers. It kind of makes sense why women would choose to do porn, because it's almost like the ultimate validation. Like, millions of guys are jerking off to you. I used to wonder why women do porn. I used to think, like, I don't understand. They're just being, they want everybody in the world to look at them naked. And then I thought about it, and I realized, like, oh, it's a power thing, but it's also an ego thing. Like, yeah, like, millions of men are jerking off to me. And if you think about it, like, that would be kind of cool if you put out a video and, like, millions of women were, like, jerking off to you, and millions of women wanted to have sex with you. You would be on an ego trip, wouldn't you? You'd feel like a god. You'd feel like a deity. And this is why women are walking around acting like gods and deities instead of humans. Instead of kind, humble, normal, natural humans, they're walking around like they're divas and they're goddesses, because they're on this pedestal. They're on this sexual pedestal. And I've heard, feminists argue about the male gaze and, like, oh, guys checking me out, and, like, and that's real. That's true. There is such a thing as a male gaze, guys checking them out. But, like, can you imagine if everywhere you went, women wanted to have sex with you? Like, it just doesn't happen. Or maybe they do. Maybe some women want to. Maybe some women are attracted to you and are like, oh, that guy's tall and he dresses nice, he's in shape, whatever. but she's not going to say anything. She's not going to gaze at you for the most part, generally. I'm not saying women don't ever approach men. I'm not saying women don't ever oogle men. That does happen. It's just rare. And I think it's because women don't like to come across as thirsty. And I think it's because they don't want to lose their social power, and then also lose their power as far as like the dynamic of male-female chemistry, because generally it's the woman attracts, the man chases, the woman either rejects or chooses, and that's power. That's almost absolute power in a way. It's not absolute power, but it's absolute power over relationships. It's absolute power over dating, right? You have one scenario where rarely a woman will approach a really hot guy, and it's only because he's a 10 out of 10, looks like a male model, and because I don't think most women are attracted to most men. They did a study recently, or not, I don't know, like 2014, something like that, where like I think it was like 85% of men are deemed not even physically attractive. And I think it was like some dating site that they did. You can Google it, but I think it was like 85% of men are not deemed as physically attractive to women. So like most men are just not attractive. At least that's what this study said. Now it could be wrong, I don't know, but it seems to add up that women have very high physical standards. I've said that on my channel for a long time. I've come to realize that physical looks is most of it. It's most of it. And does that mean that there's more attractive women than there are attractive men? I don't know, man. I'm not a professor. I don't know. But all I know is there was a study, like 2014, where like 85% of guys were deemed unattractive by the women who were taking the study or whatever. So what does that tell you? Standards are through the roof. But let's get back to the subject, which is sex workers. So what I wanted to talk about, and so the reason why I mentioned how much power women have, and I talked about how like powerful the relationship dynamic is for women. The reason why I talked about that is because it plays into the sex worker thing. Because it's like, hey, a lot of women are coming out and like being like, dang, I want my own home, like I want my own house, I want the power to, I don't want to have to go marry a guy, even though it's in their DNA to do that. They don't, oh, it's 2022, so like I don't have to settle down with a guy in order to have my rent paid or like be taken care of. I can just go start a cam model business. I can just go do porn. I can just become a Instagram or OnlyFans model, right? Twitter model, whatever avenue they're doing to advertise themselves and sell themselves. And it's like, oh, and I could just get rich doing this, and I can go get my own house, and in like a year I can be straight for the rest of my life, or like insane. Like I don't know if you guys have heard this artist. Her name is Bad Barbie. She's that meme on Dr. Phil. She's like, catch me outside. How about that? The Catch Me Outside girl. Her name is Bad Barbie, or her rap name is Bad Barbie. I can't remember her first name. It doesn't matter. Obviously, it doesn't matter. But Bad Barbie, she started an OnlyFans recently, and I think in 24 hours she got $1 million. So like, we live in an unprecedented time, man. I mean, sometimes I sit back and I look at advancement and innovation of society, and I just am like boggled. I'm just like, wow, that is crazy. Like 150 years ago. 100 is too soon, but 150 years ago, in like 1870 or whatever, like people lived these horrible lives. And they only lived to like 40, the median age was like 40 or something. I don't know, man. I'm not saying everybody lived a horrible life, but, before the Industrial Revolution and the corporations came along and took took the people out of poverty, took the human race out of abject poverty, out of the dirt, right? Basically out of the caves. Well, I mean, we built cabins and stuff, but imagine just the innovation in the last 150 years, and that's boggling to me. So it's crazy to think about, and it plays into this. It's like, yeah, women don't have to go out and marry a guy in order to, you know, feel like they're getting everything they want in life. And a lot of women are like, yeah, I don't want to have kids, and in a way I don't blame them on that. Like I've always been like, you know, kids, like, you don't have to have kids. Like, dude, you know, it's like these people who like feel like breeding is fulfillment. Like, oh, you know, you haven't validated your existence as a human being if you haven't had kids. It's just like, dude, go somewhere with that. Like, I don't want kids, you know. And so I'm sure there's a lot of women out there who like just don't want kids. And although I think there is a, you know, maternal mother instinct in most women, but there are a lot of women, more and more, who are just not having kids because they're like, yeah, I don't want to suffer. I don't want to give up my happiness. I don't want to give up my enjoyment of life for some kid. You know, they're however strong their female maternal instinct is, they feel like they're more fulfilled and happier by just being single and pursuing all the things that they want to do as a single person. So why not just have a bunch of money and do that? Oh, I can go travel, I can get a nice car, I can buy nice furniture, I get my, you know, this, that, and the third. Or I can go work at like Ross, or I can go work at like Target or TJ Maxx or freaking some, you know, Burger King or something, and make like no money and just scrape by. It's, you know, or I can show my breasts, you know, for 5 hours a day and make like $10,000, or, you know, like insane amount of money, because that's the market. And I don't know why simps pay it. You know, anyway, that's a whole nother debate. I've heard that the average OnlyFans model she only makes like $40 a month or something crazy like that. Or, I don't know, man. You know, I don't know about these top earners or blah, blah, blah. Get into that whole story. Maybe they're not making as much, but at least insofar as what I want to talk about today is at least the idea. Right? They're pursuing at least an idea. Like, okay, I can go out and do porn, I can get my name built up, I can get some fans, I can get followers, I can get my Patreon going, I can get my OnlyFans going, I get this, that, and it's not that hard. I don't have to go to college, I don't have to have a 4-year degree, I don't have to become an apprentice, I don't have to do that. Like, all I gotta do is show my tits. All I gotta do is be in good shape, be very aesthetic, you know, figure out cameras and lighting and this. It's like, that's not terribly hard, you know. And then I just sell myself, and it's like, oh wow, okay, you know. So I was thinking about that, and I was just like, how influential is that? How powerful is that? Because I made these other videos about porn and how porn turned me off. Porn showed me the truth about female nature, and it turned me off to kind of marriage and sanctity of a relationship, because sorry, I thought I heard somebody at my front door. That was creepy. Thought I heard somebody at my front door. Sorry about that. I don't think I just heard something that sounded like somebody was opening my front door. Whew. Anyway, so what was I saying? Oh, I lost my train of thought, guys. I'm sorry. Porn, yeah, whatever. You know, women are doing a lot more promiscuity and playing around than I ever could, I don't know if forgive is the right word, but I ever could look past if I want to get in a relationship. And to me, I'm not MGTOW, but a lot of the reason why I consider just staying single and like just not even trying, and you know, I haven't talked much about my personal relationship life on this channel, but there's a good case for MGTOW. I've always thought that. There's a good case for MGTOW. I've always considered myself not MGTOW because I've been open to relationships and I've been open to love if it ever came. But a lot of my core disenfranchisement, it's probably not a word, but a lot of me being disenfranchised with women at the core is due to just the lies they tell, their promiscuity, and just how dirty it makes it. You know, when I think about women being, you know, promiscuous, it just makes me think that they're dirty, you know, and used goods, all that. And there's a limit, like, you know, like, I'm not saying I want a virgin per se. I want somebody who's got under 5 lay count, under 5 people, like preferably under 3. Like, she's dated like 2 or 3 guys. Like, that's it for me. Like, yeah, they had sex, but, you know, like, I'm okay that if she's not a virgin per se. You know, I'm not a virgin. I've had relationships and girlfriends in the past. You know, I've got a history of that. So I'm not trying to make her do something that I couldn't do, but at the same time, like, I feel like past 5 is just, it's too much, right? So to me, the whole porn thing just ruined all that. It's just like, oh, okay, they like sex, they're out banging around, but the reason why I don't know about it, or I shouldn't say I don't know about it, but the reason why I'm not, you know, like, okay, let me put it this way. When you're growing up, you think that women are like not having sex. You think women are pure, or they're just waiting for love, and you think it's all about love, and you think like sex is something, yeah, people are having sex, but it's not like, you know, like this huge problem. Like, most people, you know, just date around. And then I grew up and I saw porn, and I was like, oh, okay, so they're really out there running around. They really are riding the cock carousel. Like, they're jumping from dick to dick, and it's like, oh, okay, so this isn't just some weak little thing that they're doing. Like, and then and that's when I was kind of like, oh, okay, so there's deception, right? They're putting on this front, like, you know, oh, I'm not having sex, I'm this pure girl, you know. And this is why a lot of women don't want to talk about their lay count, their body count, because they know it lowers their value, right? So when that was shattered, I was just like, you know, when that was shattered, when I realized, oh, they're not just these pure, you know, pure women waiting around, or maybe dating a couple guys before they get married at 24, 25 or whatever, or that's probably even too late, like 22, 23, right? You know, and I'm not saying some women don't. I'm not saying, you know, some women are virgins when they get married. Some women just don't get out that much. They don't mess around that much, and then they just meet a decent guy and they fall in love, and they live, you know, happily ever after. It does happen, and I think that everybody wants that. All men and all women want that deep down. But at the same time, and I was thinking about this too the other day, when you have unlimited access to sex, when you have unlimited opportunity to really just have free reign, do whatever you want with the opposite sex, like, and you're horny, because make no mistake, women are horny. They're just as horny as men. The difference between men and women when it comes to horniness is that women are extremely choosy, and I emphasize extreme. Women are extremely choosy with the guys they have sex with. Men are pretty much extremely not choosy. Men will just have sex with, I don't know, man. And, you know, I think men would have sex with, you know, a sock, you know, put in a hole in the ground, you know, like, and that's a sad thing to say, and I'm disappointed in men with that. I've always maintained and said on my channel that men need to raise their standards when it comes to dating, even getting into bed with a woman. Like, raise your standards, you know. But it's scarcity. That's what it is, and it's scarcity due to hypergamy. due to even a extreme hypergamy, really, I would say, because we live in such a time where, you know, a guy can just have $1 billion, and it's like, how are you going to compete with that? You work at frickin' the gas station and you got Elon Musk over here. Like, how are you going to compete with that? A woman is like, oh, this guy can give me everything I want. And I don't like to hear that. People say, oh, well, what about personality? Bullshit. If a millionaire came and he was as good looking as a regular Joe, and the regular Joe had a good personality and blah, 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 that would not win out. The reason why is because the millionaire is rare, and the millionaire can do things for her that regular Joe, as funny and fun and cool and nice and kind and all his great personality or confident or whatever, was strong, whatever, his great as great a personality as he has, he can't fly her to Fiji tomorrow. He can't fly her to Hawaii. He can't fly her to Jamaica, the Bahamas, whatever. He can't take her out to a restaurant. He can't buy her a diamond. He can't buy her this, that. He can't take her in limo. Like, the guy who has money can. This is why you got someone like Donald Trump, who for 50 years has been a playboy. And it's just like, I mean, he was decent looking when he was younger, but women are attracted to power, financial status, financial ability, financial affluence, and the mobility that creates in society. It's just easy. Oh, I don't have to clean. I can get a maid to do it because you got that kind of money. Oh, I don't have to live in this dirty little, dingy little studio apartment anymore. You're gonna put me in a townhouse. Great, like, excuse me. Women are gonna choose that, right? Anyway, I'm going off on all these tangents. But actually, on that note, a sex worker really is, her provider is not a man. This is why, like the last, I'd say from like 2005 to like 2020, I stopped hearing about this a lot the last few years, last 5, 6, 7 years. But there was this big push of like independence. Oh, I'm a strong and independent woman. Woo, hear me roar, right? So that's even sexier than using a man. Using a man is old hat. Oh, now I can make it on my own just by showing my breasts. I don't even have to play like I like this guy. I don't have to play like I don't have to suck this guy's dirty members. Like this. I mean, they might not be dirty, but like, a guy that she doesn't love, like, women who are dating these millionaire guys, they don't love that guy. They're doing it because of what he's giving her, and then they're in exchange, they're giving the guy sex and intimacy and companionship, which is really sad because when you boil that down, you're really just paying for a relationship, and that's a jacked up thing, man. But they can bypass that now, and their provider, so to speak, or their millionaire playboy, so to speak, is their vagina now. Right? It's what's in between their legs. What's in between their legs is making them money. What's in between their legs is the substitute for the rich guy. They might still use the rich guy because it's like, hey, free money, free drinks, free this, free that. Okay, I got to sleep with this guy who I'm not all that attracted to, but whatever, he's got money and da-da-da-da. What's funny is, like, whenever you add money into the equation, all of a sudden a guy's looks matter a lot less. All of a sudden a guy's personality matters a lot less, right? Which is why men are always striving for money, because they know that money is is like a lubricant for women to, excuse the pun, but it's like a lubricant for women to get in bed with them, right? So, but now they can bypass that and just use their primary means of income, which is their vagina, and skip that whole process. And now I can just go be independent. And it's like, wow, we have a big demand for all this pornography or all these women getting naked, right? And yet, where's the demand for quality mothers? Where's the demand for moral, what's the word? clean, you know, like when a girl goes to sleep with 40 guys, to me that's dirty. Her energy's off, you know, she's been used, her emotions are jacked. You know, women are emotionally attached to sex a lot of the times, and if they can detach themselves like men can, to me that's toxic. To me that's illness, really, you know. So that's a whole nother story, but you know, a lot of women today are just warped that way, and they're just raised different. They're someone had mentioned recently too, I was reading, a guy had mentioned that it's conditioning, it's social conditioning, to bypass her emotions. You know, a woman wants to feel safe when she's in a relationship, when she's having sex. A woman wants to feel like the guy she's having sex with can take care of her, can take care of the kid, he's not going to run out on her, he's going to be a decent guy, this, that, and the third. All that goes out the window when you're selling yourself to random men. All that goes out the window when you're having promiscuous hookups. All that goes out the window when you are selling your, you know, pictures of your private parts online, and then your emotions get jaded as a female. This is what I believe. I think it can happen for men too, but it's less common because men are less emotionally orientated, and when it comes to emotions, men are less attached sexually to our emotions than we are to just our visuality. We're more visually sexual than women. Women are more emotionally sexual. They get turned on by emotional cues. This is why it's hard to turn a woman on. Hard to turn a woman on, because you have to figure out a way to charm her and get her turned on through your words and your charisma and you know. This is why attraction is a hard thing. This is why people teach attraction and pickup artistry and dating coaches and etc. Right? Because it's not easy to do, because women are emotionally triggered, whereas men it's just visual. Oh, you got a nice big pair of tits? I'm in it. You know, I'm after you. There's times where like I've looked at a girl, you know, I've been like at a store or something, and I looked at a girl, I'm like, man, I could fall in love with that girl today. If I spent a day with her, I would just fall in love with her. That's how beautiful she is. That's how tapped in guys are to our visuality when it comes to sexual. Women are not. They're emotional, and I'm not saying women are not visual at all. That would contradict what I said earlier about how a man's looks is very important. Women are visual, and yes, that's make or break, and yes, that matters almost the most. However, after that, then what? Right? A lot of times, if the guy isn't confident, or he's not funny, or he's boring, or he's got a bad attitude, she'll get turned off and she won't want to sleep with him. Of course, if the guy's got money, it can cancel out your negative traits. But so yeah, man, it's you get jaded and you get toxic. So when I think of some, you know, sex worker, or not even a sex worker, even just a loose woman, a slutty girl who's you know, been around the block too many times, it comes across dirty in my mind. It's like dirty somehow. It's just like there's a dirty aura, there's a dirty vibe about her, and I think that's because she loses that specialness, which is supposed to be, you know, like your personal love, which is supposed to be special for a person. You lose that when you just, you know, sleep around with random people. It's almost like giving away your one of your prized possessions, which is your innocence. And anyway, so let's see now, sex workers. What else about sex workers? It's a big pull, and when I think about it, I'm like, a lot of times I consider just how many women are into that career path, and I'm like, God, that these, you know, thousands and tens of thousands of women are, you know, and they're gorgeous. I'm like, you could make some man so happy. You could be a good mother, you know. You don't even have to be a stay-at-home mom. You could go, you know, pursue your passion to be science teacher, I don't know, anything, whatever, right? Pursue your passion. Like, it doesn't have to be, I don't think many women are passionate about porn. Like, oh, it's so beautiful. Like, women like sex, and a lot of women get into, a lot of the porn women get into porn because they like sex, but it's not like, I don't think it's like, oh, this is my passion project, this is what I've always wanted to do. It's like, they just do it for the money. They do it, and yes, they like sex as well, and they do it for the validation, but it's mostly the money. I've always believed that it's mostly the money. Like, okay, let me say, like, I say 75-25. No, I say 80-20. 80% it's the money, 20% they just love the validation. It turns them on to know that millions of men are jerking off to them, and whatever, right? So yeah, man, it's a lot to take in, and it's like, who's talking about this? Are sociologists talking about this? Are scientists talking about this? Are psychologists talking about this? Are doctors talking? Like, it's one of those things that is like, I don't know, stigmatized is the right word. What's the word I'm looking for? Maybe it is stigmatized. It's one of those things where, like, you are not, we don't talk about it in society. We're not just out here, like, talking about it. Like, how is this damaging us? Particularly because of the liberal push, particularly because of the government with the Marxist agenda and the stuff going on behind the scenes, which I never talk about anymore, because I don't want to talk about it, because it's just like, it's stupid. I mean, it is what it is. I don't know if we can beat them. My thing is just to educate. My thing is just to spread the word so men can get educated, as opposed to just being in the dark about what's going on. So that's kind of what my channel's always been about. But if you think about just how damaging it is, and it's like, why is nobody talking about this? We're talking about, like, people are like, oh, why aren't young people getting married anymore? Why aren't people having families anymore? Well, it's a 1-2 punch. You got a porn culture. You got women who are incentivized financially and otherwise to jump into sex work career. And then on the other hand, you have just in general economy that you can't just go out and get a job and survive. It's not like that, anymore. It's a whole nother ball game. It's not how it used to be. Things are different. We're not in Kansas anymore, Toto, right? So I had something to say and I kind of lost my train of thought. I apologize on that. Fuck. Yeah, man, they're incentivized not to start a family, not to be a good wife, not to really find love. They're incentivized to, sell themselves, and it's fun, and it makes them feel good. It boosts up their ego, and they get all kinds of money from it. It's just, it's bonkers. So people are like, oh, why aren't young people getting married anymore? That's why. Because we can't just go out, we can't compete. How is a guy who works at Radio Shack gonna compete, and he's got a studio apartment, how's he gonna compete with Pornhub? She's making $30K a month, and he after he pays all his bills, he's got $400 left over to have fun with. Maybe, probably not. He's probably eating out of cans. I mean, come on, man. So it's curtains, man. It's cookies for it's all crumbling for proper society, family structure. This is all going down, man. I don't know if it's going to end in the next decade. I'm sure it's our generation. 2 decades. How long do we got? 3 decades, before things just get so bad. Anyway, at the end of the day, I'm a Christian. I'm a believer in God, and I got my faults. I'm not perfect, but I've always just liked to talk about the truth as I see it, and I'm glad I got my faith, but at the end of the day, it's like there's not a lot of hope when this is what's going on. So I thought I'd just discuss that for a while, take a chill pill from my cleaning, and talk about this. And it's pretty sad to see. It's a disappointment, because this is so many young, bright women, who have such potential, and yet all they know how to do is be sexual. All they know how to do is tease and manipulate and lie and cheat and be good at sex and be hot. It's like, okay, that's fine. Well, it's not fine, but like you might get away with that for 10 years, 20 years, or you might not. You might get an STD, you might this, you might that, but anyway, maybe it's good for you. Maybe they get everything they want. They get the mansion, the cars, everything they want from just selling their tits, right? Maybe. But what about the beautiful family you could have had? What about the overall effect that's having on I don't even like to use the word society, but I would say the human race. What's that going to do to our human race? And this is spreading. It's not just America. It's not just the West. This is spreading all over the world. And anyway, I don't want to. I think I'm going to end it. I don't want to keep going off on tangents, talking about other things, because I'm kind of getting tired here. But yeah, man, this is it's a big thing to think about, and it's just like, and I've been thinking about this for years, man, years and years and years. Because it just trips me out. It's like, it just trips me out, man. It's like, wow, this is going down, and this is not like, growing up, I used to think, as a kid, I knew porn was out there. I heard about it. I saw some videos, with my friends, and we joked around. I knew it was out there. I thought it was like this hush thing where like, nope, that's only the most toxic people. And maybe in the 90s that was true. I don't know, but probably not. It's just probably women didn't have the same access to as much. Now it's like there's so many porn companies out there. It's insane. So maybe they didn't have the same kind of access, but now it just seems like it's taken over as far as like this kind of unspoken thing that nobody talks about. But I've been thinking about it a lot, in my life, and it's just like, wow, like they just do that. It's always just like they're just these enigmas that like, and it's like they just are what they are. You have to realistically look at it that way, that they are what they are, and hopefully we can change. Hopefully we can, as men, we can as we learn collectively and grow collectively, maybe that'll change some things with them, as a reaction to our changing. But at the end of the day, it doesn't look good for. And that's just porn. I mean, I'm not even talking about just going to the club and hooking up on Saturday night or getting on Tinder. You know what I mean? It's like there's so many ways that that they can screw themselves up and screw up their potential future. And it's like, where's their parents? I often wonder that. Where's these girls' parents? No one's telling them right from wrong. Who taught them morals? And that whole theory of like, oh, these are only the most toxic women, and like these are damaged women. Like, no, you can't sell me that. These are just average women, and they're just happen to be more beautiful than other women, so they feel like they have a career in the adult entertainment industry. And it's just like, dude, like you could be a mom, like you could make some man so happy, but they don't want that. That's boring. I get it. Oh, you can go to Italy and ride jet boats, and you can eat out at a restaurant every weekend. You can do this and that, and it's just like, oh, okay, I get it. That's more exciting, than real love, than monogamy, than having a family, than settling down. My mom used to always say that to me when I was growing up, that the best sex is with somebody that you really love, and it's the most intimate sex. And I think I read that too. I read that too recently somewhere else, that sexual intimacy is the best when you really love somebody, and I think it can be that. And even it, let's subtract pornography from that equation, and let's just say modern society, aside from pornography, it's still jacked up. Because you can't even find the right woman. You can't even find the right person in order to be in that type of relationship with, because these women are playing so many games, because they're out playing the field. They're jumping from Chad to Joe to John to Bill to Chris to Todd to Bill. I think I already said Bill. I ran out of names. Right. I don't have a big database of guys' names. Patrick, I like the name Patrick. But anyway. Alright, I think I'm going to end it here, but you guys get my point. They're jumping from guy to guy, and it's not even normal. Aside from the whole porn thing. It's jacked up. And then you got, nobody's teaching them how to treat a man. Nobody's saying, hey, this is how you have a solid relationship. You practice fairness, you practice boundaries, you practice forgiving each other, you practice good communication, you have dates set aside, you keep the relationship fire kindled and burning by doing this or that, or all these things that no one's teaching them how to do any of that. It's all just like me, like, be this amazing guy who does, you see these women with like this list of like 150 things standards that a guy's got to meet. It's insanity. Like, that's not normal. Like, you are not like this goddess where guys have to just like, what guy would want to be in a relationship with a woman who has 150 standards? He would just feel like he's her slave. This is, I think, what so many women really want is control over men, to the point of them just being there. So it's like they don't even want a relationship. They really don't. They don't want a real relationship. They want a man to always be serving them, to just be this wonderful, amazing guy 24/7. And it's like, that's not reality. We are what we are, and we can always try to be better, but love is about accepting somebody and working on it, and two mutual people. Like, who's teaching them that? Nobody's teaching them that. They're just teaching them how to be divas and narcissists, and oh, here's how you be sexy. Like, women got that down to a pat. Like, they're educated on how to be sexy. Oh, wear these tight jeans, show your boot, show cleavage, and like they've got that down pat. But what they don't know how to do is be real to a man in a real relationship. Who's teaching them how to do that? I don't see it. And I'm talking about not just my life. I'm talking about, like, I've seen relationships, and it's like I've been around a lot of relationships, and it's just kind of this weird one-way street where, like, the woman is like just the guy's the benefactor, he's the provider, and the woman is just like, what is she? She's the prize. It's weird. I've talked about it so much on my channel, but anyway, it's not normal. No one's teaching them how to do that, aside from the porn thing, and they're still sleeping around, which is dirty, damage, and all this, that, and the third. So it's a 1-2 punch in so many different ways. And statistics are backing that up. 50% divorce rate, single mothers. I think I read somewhere that 40% of women, it's either 25 or 40%, I can't remember, 25% or 40% of women in the dating market are single mothers. Something like, I think I'm leaning towards 25%, which is still a high amount. So that's like 1 out of 4 women in the dating market. It's probably higher than that. It's probably 1 out of 3. Seems like between 1 out of 4 and 1 out of 3, I'd say. Out there, I say like 30 to 35%, in my opinion, are single moms, and that's just a whole nother dynamic, man. Whole nother dynamic. But anyway, guys, I'm gonna end it there. I'm tired. Talked enough. Trying to keep this podcast maybe under an hour. And it's a sunny day out here in Seattle area. Hope you all are doing well. Always appreciate you guys listening to my talks, and I hope you all stay safe and stay blessed. And Jay Lee, Northwest Podcast. Peace.